Hello there, everybody. Welcome to the second full moon of the month of October 2020. It's rare to have two full moons in 1 month. So what does that mean? Well, it just gives it sort of a bookend in a way. We had October 2nd and now October 31st to go through an entire lunar cycle and mark the full moons twice in 1 month. It just sort of means that October is a meaningful or changing month for everybody. It's also the blue moon, so that's kind of cool. And it's also the first time that the full moon falls exactly on Halloween since 1944. So that's something cool. I've been feeling the witchy Halloween season mood ever since the middle of September, I'd say. And it's still with me. And what does that mean? Well, for me, it's a stronger connection to feeling spirit around us. Maybe more possibility of visitation by spirit. Sorry, there we go. And I was visited earlier in the month. My grandfather, for the first time, was very strongly standing in my room, and that was pretty cool because I've been feeling connected to him for the last couple of years as I researched where he was from, and then I went to England to see the land and, well, the coast, basically where he grew up before he came to Canada in 1906. So you might also be feeling the connection or pull or communication of spirit as well, whether it's ancestors, grandparents, or spirit guides. That theme is really strong this month, even in our astrology chart. So I'm going to go into the astrology first because I find there's a lot to say, and then I'm going to go into the tarot and see what the tarot says about the energy of this month. And then at the end of the video, everybody will get a reading, a card like usual, for advice for your sign. And I will put the times that the numbers in the bottom of the video description beside your sign are the exact minute and seconds that your prediction begins. And I highly recommend that you watch your sun sign, your rising sign if you know it, and your moon sign if you know it. And if you don't know it, you can look it all up on astro.com. Type in all your information there and it'll give you your chart. And it's always most accurate to read all three to see what might be coming up for you. So I'm just burning lots of sage here as we start. Just cleansing and purifying the energy. It's been quite intense for everyone here in North America, right? In Europe, we're going into more lockdowns. And a lot of people are experiencing, more intense emotions anyway because of COVID. But full moons tend to heighten emotion anyway. So we're just going to see what's the quality of this particular full moon compared to our other full moon. If you want to go back and check and compare, you can go back on my YouTube channel here to the October 2nd full moon and see, because they do have a very different feeling. All right, so I'm going to put up the chart for you to look at here for a second. All right, you can also, if you want to, pause the video and look at it a little longer, or you can go to astro.com and find the chart there, calculate it as well if you want to study it more. So let's take a look at what's going on with this full blue moon in Taurus. So I do the chart as if it's New York City, just to standardize it with a major city on the East Coast where I'm living. So that will change some of what I'm saying as far as predictions of what houses the certain planets fall in and what the rising sign is. But if you're in the Eastern time zone, this ascendant and houses will apply to you. If you're in the West Coast or California, it would change slightly. So bear with me. And I don't know, I never thought, maybe I could do more about different time zones in other videos. But for this one, for the Eastern, for the New York chart, it's October 31st at 10:49 a.m. The sun is at 8 degrees Taurus. The moon will be at 8 degrees Taurus, exactly opposite. And the interesting and intense thing is that the moon will be conjunct Uranus exactly at 8 degrees Taurus as well. Moon and Uranus together is very powerful stuff. We also have the rising sign, the ascendant, on this chart is 18 degrees Sagittarius. So it's sort of deceiving in a way, because Sagittarius gives off, Sag rising gives off a very, you know, upbeat, optimistic, active, dynamic, international kind of vibe. But what's going on underneath the surface is Scorpio and Taurus together, opposing each other, especially since Uranus is pulling the moon so strongly. So what it means is, you know, maybe you see people overly trying to seem optimistic or buoyant or cheerful, or even Sag rising can also be, it can be about freedom, but it can also be about being on your pulpit, or being a guru, or, you know, I'm right, here's the way you have to do that, or this is, and so it's sort of an informed stance, and they're very strong in their stance. You might not agree with it, but there it is, it comes off strongly. Now, the US actually has Sagittarius as the rising sign. So you can see what we mean with like discrepancies in how you come across versus what's going on inside. You know, the US, you know, their persona to the world is very Sagittarian. You know, look at us, freedom, we came across the ocean, we started our own country, we're independent, we're free. You know, the land of the free and the home of the brave, right? That's very sort of Sagittarian. You know, give us your tired masses, bring everybody together and come to America and everybody can have the dream. That's how they sell, you know, it's part of the values of the US and it's how they sell it in the rest of the world. But when you get underneath the surface, the USA is a Cancer. Cancers aren't like that. Cancers are like, this is my shell and this is my house and this is my family and this isn't safe. You know, I just want to be safe in my cocoon here. I want people familiar. I don't want language barriers. I don't want cultural barriers. I want things to be nice and cozy for me. So it's very different once you get there. Now, everybody's got this in their chart somehow. Your rising sign and your sun sign can give off a very different impression. So this full moon also we'll see that same thing operating in people's first impression, or what they're selling you, what they're telling you, versus what they really are. So you might be going through, you know, insights or maybe disappointments at the way people portray themselves versus what they are when you actually see the truth or what's going on. Because a Scorpio sun will be very mysterious, but very private, likes to observe and listen without, and not talk as much, likes to feel that there's a deep connection, that people are being real and truthful and searching, soul searching. They're searching for their truth. And they want to connect on an intimate level. Often Scorpio is a sexual sign. It's talking about sexual intimacy too. But, and, you know, they don't really want to be out there and seen and gather attention like the Sagittarius. So it's more of about, you know, my bubble, my privacy, the people that I'm deep diving in life with. Now, opposing that is the moon in Taurus. The moon in Taurus is somebody that wants security above everything else. Security is the most important thing, financial security. So they will sacrifice their desires. Scorpio won't. Taurus will sacrifice what they desire in place of what is secure. So the moon in Taurus especially, you know, they want a dental plan. It's not about taking a job you're passionate about if there's no dental plan. That kind of thing. You know, it's not a dream house based on the, you know, the mood or the feel of this little, let's say somebody has a dream of a little tiny house or something. Taurus is too practical. Be like, yeah, we're going to just step on each other. How's that going to be fun? You know, Taurus is just so practical and down to earth and thinking about, you know, what makes sense in the material plane. Scorpio is all about desires and emotion and spirituality, transformation. Taurus is like the material world. Thank you very much, please. I'm good. I got my stuff. I got my food. I got my family. Got my paycheck. I'm good. You know, Scorpio is like, wants to connect on a very deep emotional level. So you can see how those two signs would oppose each other. Scorpio and Taurus tend to fight more than most other signs. They're both extremely strong. They're both fixed signs, so they're both stubborn. And they will fight to the death. So you might see that. You might see that underneath this Sagittarian, lively, informed, buoyant, out there, inclusive, rallying Sagittarius rising, you might see there's an awful lot of tension building up and, you know, factions and different sides that are equally stubborn and equally strong. We can look at that with the U.S. election, with the two parties, but it's everywhere. You know, populism is unfortunately growing, and it's a divisive, black or white, with us or against us kind of energy that's out there. And Scorpio and Taurus opposing each other can bring that out too. So let's focus on the good side here of this full moon. So the sun in Scorpio is making a great aspect to Neptune and Pisces in the 3rd house. And Scorpio, the sun is in the 11th. So what that means, which I find really encouraging about this full moon, is that the best way to use this full moon is to be developing your spiritual practice, your tribe, finding your spiritual or values-based communities, finding who you vibe with on a deeper level would be a great use of this full moon. But what's that mean? It means that at first there's a lot of inner tension about who fits and who's part of it and who isn't. So you might be getting in touch with yourself and what your deeper feelings and values and beliefs are than you ever were. And then you have to confront that, oh, some people that you thought you were close to maybe don't share it, can't see it or accept it the way you wanted. Because there's a lot going on in the relationship houses in this chart. And like I said, this is based on a New York chart. So if we flip it around for California or for London, England, it's going to play out in a different way. But this is for the Eastern time zone folks in North America. A lot of relationship evaluating or flip-flop 180s. And it's because we're searching for who we resonate with on a deeper level. We want We want that realness and that depth. We want people we can count on, and people who truly share our values and beliefs. So this is going to be a strong thing this full moon, I find. Also, we have our south node on that Sagittarian rising sign, and the south node is your past life direction. So it's sort of like saying, you know, your past life thing, or what you fall back on, is that Sagittarius rising. Look at me, I'm so busy, you know, I'm informed, and you know, I went to that place, and so I know this is what's going on there, and this is, you know, informing the world and letting people know how strongly and passionately you believe something and how much you know, and being, you know, very, very active and dynamic, a bit blunt. But that's the south node. That's the past life direction. It's saying we've got to go towards something else now. So that's interesting, I find. So we don't want to fall back on that Sagittarian energy. We want to go towards the north node, which is Gemini. And the Gemini north node, our karmic direction, the thing we need to focus on right now to make life go better is Gemini. And the Gemini north node's been around all year. The nodes last, I think they can last in one sign for a year or two. So if Gemini is the thing that's pulling us towards the next direction, what's that mean? It means diversity. It means dabbling, adapting to many different groups, many different interests, staying current with what's going on in many ways, and staying ready to, you know, informed enough to be able to get along almost anywhere you go. So yes, your knowledge base is there, but it's maybe broader, it's less opinion-based, it's less fixed. Which is also interesting, because that sort of runs against what I'm saying about Scorpio and Taurus squaring off. You know, this is my way. Well, this is the way I want to live. Well, that's nice. This is what I want. And they're duking it out because they both have a strong need to be secure in different ways. But what the chart is saying is, if you want your relationships to go better, you need to follow this Gemini energy. However, you know, that same Neptune that is supporting the Scorpio sun is also making an opposition to that, a square to that north node in Gemini. Again, it's just given me a feeling that right now you're going to be evaluating your groups and relationships and family, like anybody you're close to, you're going to be evaluating it a lot this month, this full moon cycle, this next 2 or 3 weeks. And you're really going to be thinking, who are my real friends? Who is my real spiritual family? Where is my tribe? Who do I need to be aligned with? Is this fitting me? On a deeper level, not just you know, day to day. Like, it's got to be really ready to stand the test of time and loyalty. And so you might be seeing through all kinds of dynamics and people that you're like, you know what, I've outgrown that. I like them, but I've outgrown that dynamic. I don't want that as my close people, or whatever have you. Or, oh boy, this one is like a lot less aligned with me than I thought. So there's going to be, I'm feeling there's going to be some level of disappointment as we go through that, at who we need to let go of. But there's also a great joy in finding your tribe and connecting to them, because Neptune trine the sun in Scorpio can bring like really lovely people together, that really do fit on a far deeper, far more far-reaching level than you've had before, which is great, right? We don't need 25 of them. We just need a couple who really, we feel like they really get us, they really see us, and we really see them, and it's transparent, and you get closer from there. So we're going towards that Now, we also have our Mercury in Scorpio still retrograde. It's retrograde officially until the election on the 3rd, and then it's still going to have a shadow phase for a couple of weeks. But, you know, we've made it through most of the Mercury retrograde. Hasn't been an easy one with technology. But, you know, hang in there. We've just got another week or so of that. And Mercury now has moved into a position where it's squaring off with Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter in Capricorn that we've been mentioning all year. So a lot of power struggles in communication. So again, somebody's trying to take the conversation deeper, trying to expose the truth, trying to deep dive into something more real, and someone ain't having it, or they're shutting it down, or they're opposing it, or they're spinning it, or whatever. But there's like friction and opposition, even with force, you know, on speaking the truth, which is a Mercury and Scorpio thing. So we can expect to see more of that, whether that's, I don't know, things being silenced on social media. We'll have to see. In your personal life, yeah, you might feel like that pushback as you try to speak more truthfully or more openly. And, you know, don't be surprised if you feel like you're hitting a wall, because those 3 planets together in Capricorn feel like you're hitting a fortress wall. So do it anyway. Speak your truth anyway. Now, we also have Venus that has moved into Libra. So thank goodness something is a bit lighter, a bit nicer in the chart. Venus in Libra just wants things to be beautiful, peaceful, balanced, wants everyone to get along. Doesn't want fights. Wants harmony, wants art, you know, good music, wants things to be pleasant. So that's in the air. You know, Venus lasts for at least a good month. So it's a good time to be more diplomatic when you can. But like I said, the other planets are supporting more frictional kind of thing. But you might find some people are very good mediators, or some people have, you know, you can challenge yourself to say what you need to say in a more pleasing way, or you can express it through your writing or your art or your music instead. So it's also interesting to note, you know, this fall we've had Mars in Aries, and it's retrograding, and it's been that way for weeks now, and it's not a pleasant aspect. And we certainly see it, all of this, as I mentioned in other videos. Mars in Aries, when it's not retrograde, is going to be, you know, aggressive, sometimes blunt, calling things out, impulsive, road raging, all kinds of stuff like that. When it's retrograde, it just pushes it under the surface. And so, as I mentioned, you get a lot of passive-aggressive anger. For example, like, you know, sabotaging people's comments on videos or whatever. That's what we do now on social media. We just attack people we've never met, take things out of context, don't even ask, just dive bomb people. Or we see, you know, again, road rage, reckless driving. I've definitely seen more of that in the last few weeks. Because people need a way to let out their frustration, and if it's not direct, you know, like a Mercury and Scorpio thing that says, hey, pisses me off when you do that, would you mind? Instead, you know, Mars and Aries repressed will just like do something really, it'll say it with like total sarcasm, which never gets you a good result, right? Or it'll just like, oh, okay, you know, just total passive aggressive, guilt tripping, stuff like that. That's how aggression comes out in an unhealthy way. So we still have that going on. And it's also squaring off with all those Capricorn planets, that wall feeling. So, I mean, when you've got a fortress wall like Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn and Capricorn, it's like coming up to the castle wall, and Mars in Aries is like the knight that's coming up to the castle, and he goes, oh, geez, this wall is so big. Can't you let me in? God. That's really effective, isn't it? It's not going to work. The wall is the fortress is too strong. The wall is too thick. Doesn't care. So Mars in Aries is extremely frustrated right now, not getting what it wants. So you might also see on many levels people frustrated that they can't get things going. They can't get what they need. They can't get what they want. Now, it's interesting to me to look at what we call the Sabian symbols. I've mentioned them before in other videos, but if you haven't looked them up and you're really keen on astrology, it's really worth it. It's sort of what we use to predict. So, Sabian symbol. It's like a little story or a little allegory for every degree of the zodiac. So, I looked up the moon 8 degrees Taurus conjunct the Uranus 8 degrees Taurus. Since this is probably the most powerful thing going on in the chart. Uranus is like a lightning bolt. It's like a bomb. It's a unpredictable, erratic, independent, uncontrollable, strong energy. You can't pin it down. And so Uranus is not happy in Taurus because, as I said, Taurus is like, give me comfort or give me death. Thank you very much. Check, check, check. I have everything I need. Now piss off. And Uranus comes along like an earthquake, you know, because it's in an earth sign. Uranus and Taurus is, yeah, very earthquake-like. The ground is shaking. The foundation is shaking. When you shake the foundation of somebody that wants things to be secure, it's not pretty, is it? They lash out. You know, they feel panicky. They do things that are rash or unpredictable or over the top. And because it's in Taurus, it's going to play out with material stuff. So are we going to see another dash for the grocery stores for toilet paper? Is it toilet paper this time? I don't know. Is it going to be something else that people feel they need to be secure and they're going to start hoarding it? They might, you know. Is it financially related with Taurus? Yes. It's money with Taurus. It's food supplies. It's land. It's your dwellings. It's all the earthy, material, tangible stuff. So the symbol for that, to help us understand a little better what this could mean, is a sleigh without snow. So you've got this beautiful sleigh with the blades all ready to slide along the snow, but there's no snow. So there's a feeling of frustration again that things can't get going. It's not the timing. It's not the right time. And what it said as the advice for that was to do the grunt work now. Lay the foundations, do the tough preparation. Like if it's a sleigh ride, the ideal thing is the track is already cut for you and then you can just go slide along it, no problem. But right now it's more at the stage where you're the one who has to cut the trail. So it's not the fun sliding along part. So this means that this full moon with 8 degrees Taurus and Uranus there, again, an enormous buildup of frustration that things are not at the timing that you want, that you can't do what you want, get what you want. Not yet, not now. So you're stuck preparing, and you're stuck laying the foundations of something that you want to happen later, that can happen in a little while. And some of that is the planets, and it happens to be, obviously, you know, this is obvious if during COVID that's what we have to do as well. We're preparing the way for things to come when this clears, because eventually it will. So I find that just a very interesting and helpful symbol because, you know, if you get mad at yourself or mad at life, we can't right now. We're all doing our best in an extraordinary time on the planet that none of us have lived through. So nobody knows what to do. Nobody knows 100% what we're doing. And so you might have all the skills and everything was set in place for you before this COVID hit. And you had this whole life all mapped out and goals and trips and things planned. And then it just came along and took away the snow. But the sleigh is still in good condition and it can still slide along again and the snow will come back. You know, the timing for your goals and your plans and the things you set in motion will come back. It's just not now. So right now it's really a time of turning within for to really take a look at your relationships with others, to deepen your relationship with yourself and others and with your spiritual life so that you find a much more satisfying level of interaction with people, where you find meaningful interaction with people and meaningful closeness with people. And that's where I feel things are headed this full moon period. So now let's take a look at what the cards have to say for us this month. This full moon. Feels like this full moon's gonna carry with us longer than just 2 weeks. Anything with Scorpio has a lasting effect. So I'm gonna burn some more sage, and then I'm gonna pull our cards for this month. Full moon, full blue moon. All right. Just focus with me on the blue moon, October 31st, Halloween or Samhain. Let's let the spiritual energy come through of this time, the mysticism, the ancestors and guides, if they're willing to help us with this reading for everybody. All right. I already feel better just saying that. All right, so our first card here is our good old Eight of Cups. As you can see, it's not a happy camper card. The water's black, it's dark, it's cold. Water is sort of run out, run dry. The cups look red, suggesting, you know, more like they're a fire element or burnt out instead of a flowing water element. This is the card of Saturn in Pisces, where you feel like you don't belong, you feel like you don't fit in, you don't feel part of the world, you don't feel part of a oneness with everybody. And it's easy to feel that way right now when we've got all of these quarantines. It's easy to focus on the fact that you're quarantined and alone instead of understanding that all of us are feeling that, and because we're all feeling it, we are bonded in our similar experience. So even though you feel lonely, quarantining perhaps, or not seeing friends or family, but you're actually not alone. You're not alone at all. Everyone's going through it. So if you can take comfort in that somehow. But this is definitely strong feelings of being isolated or left out. And the antidote is to try to remind yourself of all the ways that you are similar and share the same experience and are part of the world like everyone else. All right. Our next card is the Three of Swords. Say no more. This is a pretty hard card. This is the card of grief and loss. So again, as I mentioned in the astrology, I think it's going to be a time of facing the music about certain connections and relations. And yes, there's some grieving, and it's not necessarily always a final, like a death, but sometimes this card can be more like the death card. But it's important that we allow ourselves to grieve whoever and whatever. It's part of a natural cycle that we all go through in life, and it doesn't last forever. All right, our next card is the Five of Pentacles, which says worry. This is a Taurus card as well. Mercury and Taurus. This card always tells me, though, that we're worrying too much. We don't need to worry as much as we are. So this card suggests to me that we have to really tackle any issues of anxiety that we might have. Because anxiety can, as you know, if you have it, it can overtake you and spin you out of control with your worst case scenarios. It can make your heart race so bad you think you have an actual heart attack going on. And so you really want to conquer. You really want to address and find ways to deal with your anxiety levels so that it's not as intense as it could be. You know, meditation, obviously, listening to music you love. Go back and watch a movie, even if it's from 20 years ago, if it makes you feel like good about the world again. Try to stay away from too much news, anything violent, anything about, you know, creepy psychopathic people in the movie or whatever. Just try to stay away. We're getting enough saturation of that all the time in the world. You need to take some breaks of antidote from your anxiety by doing other things that are enjoyable or make you feel good about the world, because there's still a lot of good in the world, even if we're all focused on coping right now. All right. Our next card is the Eight of Wands, which is our Sagittarius card. So this means things will, things will be picking up. Things will, it is an optimistic and active card, and it is a card of lots of communicating. Look at the rainbow, and of inclusiveness and diversity. That's a happy sign going into this next 2 weeks, since it's including this next full moon chapter is including the election. Here's hoping. But this could also be try to make sure you get out and exercise. Don't be too stagnant, too still. And don't be afraid to show or find something that you feel optimistic or interested even to learn. Mercury and Sag is like very bright and clever mind. They like to learn. So keep yourself motivated. Keep yourself active if you can. Our next card here is the Emperor. Well, we all can have an emperor in our lives if it's a strong patriarch. That could be a grandfather, father, could be a boss, could be a landlord, who knows. But there's a strong male figure, or this could sometimes mean governments and government agencies. So yes, this could be talking about, schools, hospitals, stuff like that, banks. Can't quite tell you what that means until I pull the next card, but we're definitely seeing some sort of shift or something going on with an authority figure or authority in society. Our next card is the Princess of Cups. It's sort of the opposite, the antidote to the Emperor. Young, female, all feminine energy, like a soft fairy kind of energy. All about creativity, intuition, kindness, against cruelty of any sort, against control and power of any sort. This is interesting. And our next card is the Princess of Swords. So that's also somebody younger, often female. It doesn't have to be, though. This is somebody who's combative, though, as you can see. She's fighting. she's dueling and fighting, and she doesn't have a lot to stand on. She's standing on a dark cloud. She's barely holding on to something, and yet she fights. So there's a lot of bravery in her, but there's also some chaos in her as well. We're going to have to see where these cards lead, because all of a sudden there's a bunch of people coming up in it. All right. Our next card here is the Tower. Well, this is interesting because the feeling I'm getting is that we're going to see some rebelliousness after the election is done in the U.S. We're going to see, yeah, definitely some sort of revolt or riot or retaliation or reaction. Hard to say on whose side or on what, but it's interesting. We have an emperor and then we have two young females. I'm wondering if we're going to see a group or person that we would never have expected to challenge the authorities that be, to expose or out them or fight back against them. People we never, a group or person we never would have thought of could be bringing this tower down. The Tower means that there's been something going on for far too long, and there's been warnings, and we didn't listen to the warnings, so now life will forcing you to change. So I'm oddly optimistic about these cards. I feel like something is gonna, like I said, a group or an individual that we would never have expected. That keeps coming to me. To challenge the status quo or challenge authority in a way we haven't seen. There's a surprise. There's a shocker or a surprise in November. Ooh. And finally we have the King of Wands. So we have a new person that steps up to the plate. Somebody strong, somebody dynamic and outspoken, somebody that the people will like. So we have a new person put in place. Interesting. Now, I'm not going to say that this is Biden. I'm not going to say this is Trump. I don't know. This might not be the president. This might be somebody else that challenges the presidency or the country, the laws on some other level. And a new leader a new party, something emerges to challenge the status quo. Wow, what a reading. Didn't expect that. So, I mean, as I'm channeling these cards, my feeling is that by the middle of November, we're going to see that week after the election, not right after it, give it a week or 10 days after the election, I think we're going to see some sort of very surprising opposition or uprising towards the presidency, the elections, the way government works. I feel like a major challenge and a serious challenge, not just fighting in vain or protesting in vain. It feels like something really serious that will be taken seriously, and a new person on the stage. A new person. Let's wait and see. My goodness. Alrighty. So now we're going to go towards our signs. We're going to give one card for every sign. And as usual, I like to give a context. So, I think it would still be good to just give advice. How should each sign handle handle November? What should you be focusing on for November? All right, so we'll just mix our cards. What do you need to focus on this November to best navigate, survive, feel good? What do you need to do this November? All right, so just laying them out in front of me. right. Aries. Aries, your card is the Ace of Swords. So you need to focus just on mental clarity, keeping your mental clarity. Remember, I said that Mars is retrograde in your sign, so it means that you're getting a lot of, you might be feeling restless or impatient more than usual, angry, frustrated. It might be, you know, it might be starting to infect your mind or make you too preoccupied. So the Ace of Swords is like step back, detach. Cool, calm, rational, logical, step back from everything, logic it out, and try not to get too wrapped up in the emotion of things. Do what you need to do, if that's time alone, whatever it is, to keep a sense of mental focus and mental clarity. All right. Taurus. So your card here is the Eight of Swords. This is the analysis paralysis card. It sort of stems alongside the worry card that I mentioned before, but it's more than that. This card means that you're stuck in your head for too long. You're thinking things through too much. There's too many things on your plate. There's too many things in your head at once. There's another way to solve your problems, and you can't get there by analyzing it or learning or asking one more person. You've got to get out of your head at this point, because this is where the mind shuts down because there's too much interference. That's what the card says, interference. Jupiter in Gemini, too many things going on to keep track of. So there's overwhelm, and there's like a disconnect in a certain way because there's just too much analysis. So step back and tackle something earthy and practical. If you're overthinking, go scrub the kitchen or go chop some wood, get outside on your bare feet, do something to get out of your head, and you'll start to feel a lot better. Okay. Gemini. Very nice. Two of Swords. Peace. Very nice. Moon in Libra. You just want some peace right now. You just want some calm. You want a little bit of, you know, you're probably enjoying your bubble in some ways. It's basically telling me to go enjoy your downtime, your alone time. Be in your bubble or your cave or whatever, wherever you go when you need your downtime and your rest. I see you also reading books or listening to music, watching old movies, whatever it is. Disconnect from whoever or from the world as you need to. It's all about keeping and maintaining this nice sense of inner peace. You might find with the Moon and Libra card, the Two of Swords, maybe you want to open the doorway to have a heart-to-heart with somebody if you're feeling really good. Could be a good time to make amends if there's anybody that you reach out to, but only if both of you are in a state of peace and calm about it. But then you could really make some amends, I'm hearing, which would be a very nice way to use this month. All right, Cancer. The Magician. Ah, that's a nice one. All right, Cancer, so your best advice for November is to be the magician. We want you to manifest something. We want you to create projects, design things that are fun or that are creative or that have a larger purpose than just yourself. We want you to sharpen up your tool shed. Think about all the skills that you're good at. Sharpen them up. See if you've got everything ready to use them. Feels to me like you're putting something, a project together. There's something in the works. and it feels like it's got some momentum, some teeth to it. So just enjoy this time that you're building and manifesting this project. And if you haven't designed anything or got a project, then you want to start dreaming, daydreaming, visioning, writing things down. That's a beautiful use of this time. Leo. Seven of Discs. Well, yeah, not the nicest card. Sorry, Leos. The card says failure. It's Saturn and Taurus. It doesn't mean that you are a failure, but you might be feeling like you have failed on some level. You have to examine also your finances. Seven of Pentacles sometimes means that money is tight, and you've got to take a look at your budget, but more so, you've got to take a look at, again, your value system, because this card is Saturn and Taurus, which is all about knowing what things are worth, knowing what you're worth, knowing what things are worth to you, knowing the worth or the value of your skills, what your salary should be, how you should be treated. So if you're not feeling good about the way you're being treated or remunerated, you want to take a look at this card. Am I valuing myself enough? Do I feel like I have failed in some way? Are people failing me? You got to take a look at all of that and try to make some strong decisions on how to adjust it so that it's more balanced and you will shine once again. All right, Virgo. Your card is the Ten of Wands. Ouch. This is the card of oppression. You're feeling stuck, boxed in, not free. You might feel oppressed literally by somebody in your life. Somebody, this could be anything. Could be family, could be your spouse, could be your job, could be the place you live, but you're feeling like something is just taking your sails, taking your freedom. Something's too overbearing and it's taking too much place. And look at all the heat behind, you know, it's on fire behind. These two giant iron wands are suppressing the other 8, and there's fire. So this is like, this card is ready to set something on fire. You're so sick of it, okay? So you've got to get in touch with, what am I feeling so bloody sick of? What am I feeling oppressed by? And you have to bust free. There's no way to make this, there's no way to save this situation or make it better or just readjust or niggle this that way or this way. It's time to get out with this card. Get out of jail card. Ooh. All right. Libra. The Devil. Well, how interesting. Are you dealing with the devil in your life? Is there a devil around? Is the devil you? The devil is our shadow side, our lower self. If it's another person in your life, and it could be a boss, spouse, whoever, it's a controlling and manipulative and sexual energy. Meaning the devil gets what it wants with coercion, covert behavior, seduction, and manipulation. It's not somebody who's direct and just bossy or authoritarian. It's somebody who doesn't have the skills to say something in the right way, so they do it covertly, or they manipulate you with something. They seduce you, they tempt you. So, do you have a devil in your life? If you don't currently, maybe this is bringing up memories or feelings about someone who used to be. Maybe it's a time of letting go or grieving or setting boundaries further with somebody who's like this, even if they're not actively in your life as much as they were. And if it's you, take a look at your own addictive personality. Take a look at your own control issues. Everyone's got some. The first step is being honest that you have control issues. And just try to be willing to adjust some of that behavior so that your relationship life gets a lot healthier. Because we all know Libra wants to have happy, harmonious relationships. So control, manipulation, addiction, passive aggressiveness, silent treatments, whatever it is not getting us there. So we have to take a look. Is that us? Is that people around us? If we want things to get better. All right. Scorpio. Happy birthday, by the way. Queen of Swords. Well, I always call this Queen of Swords card like Meryl Streep in The Devil Wears Prada. You know, very, very piercingly smart, cool and detached, and, you know, could run an army, or she run a company, but not terribly empathic, not terribly sensitive towards other people's feelings, like she used to do in the film. Thank you. You can go now. Right, I don't care. That's nice. Bye. We're not suggesting that you turn into that. If you've got someone around you, a mother-in-law, I don't know, grandmother, aunt, boss, anybody who's a Queen of Swords in your life, usually Scorpio's not so compatible with them because you like to be able to express your deeper emotions and your deeper truth. And this lady, you know, unless she completely agrees with you, she'll just shut her down. She doesn't want to hear it. Or she will very coldly dismiss you. So, do you have a Queen of Swords around you? And if you do, this message would be that it would be time to think about how much you want her in your life, or if you have any control over it, or readjust how much you speak to, see how you interact, how much you share, how vulnerable or not vulnerable, please, with the Queen of Swords you want to be. And if this is a message for you, it could mean that you need to bring that side of you out in a situation so that you are a little more detached, cool, you know, laser focused to help you get some other aspect of life rolling better. You know, if you've been too emotional, or there's always drama, or there's always, like, you might need to step back and use some of that Queen of Swords energy to help clean things up or cut through some crap. So that's another aspect that it could mean for you, Scorpio. All right, Sagittarius. Two of Cups. Ah, that's nice. It's a love card. Love birds, love fish. You see the two fish intertwined around a beautiful lotus, and it looks like a wedding fountain almost. It says love, and this card is more like the Lovers than any other card, than the Lovers card. This is that innocent, pure connection, intimate, romantic beginning of things. When it turns real, it's not about the wondering and debating and do they like me stage. It's like, no, this is, the connection's real. You both know it. It's undeniable. That's nice. Well, I hope that that's true for you. If you haven't met anybody, I mean, people are still meeting online. Or it can be a sign that you have more clarity of your closeness with somebody else in your life, solidifying the relationship, solidifying that tender, nice, vulnerable, cozy side with somebody in your life. If it's not pure romance, then that would be what it could be. You could suddenly feel just so much closer to your daughter. You could suddenly have a great conversation, you know, with your dad, or it could be rekindling with a current marriage. but it's really a lovely card. So I'm happy for you, because it hasn't been so easy on Sagittarians for a while. All right, Capricorn. Princess of Wands. All right, so as you can see, looks very Aries. You can see her horns and the flame she's in, the flame at the side, and this tiger that's hanging around her neck. And she's just unstoppable. You know, she's got so much energy and so much passion and physical energy and drive and will to get what she's inspired by. It's not a controlling energy. It's somebody who's like, oh yeah, I really want to do this. I really want to do that. Oh yeah, that would be so cool. It's that. It's raw, enthusiastic, Aries kind of energy. And she's just got so much of it that she can float this tiger who's like dragging along behind her. So she might be the one carrying people with her enthusiasm or ideas. Somebody else might be the sleeping tiger. But it's definitely for you, Capricorn, a sign of like, try to have, you know, that excitement, that sense of wonder, that feeling of like, oh yeah, it would be really fun to do this. Even if it means that there's going to be a lot of work with it and you can be that workaholic afterwards. But, you know, at first this is just like, be spontaneous, be flowing, let your fire out, let that creative side come out. Let the ideas and the brainstorming, the inspiration, the projects, just let that great level of enthusiasm carry you and carry your whole family with you, or whoever's around you, because it's infectious. So that's a very nice message for you, since the planets are not so easy for Capricorn. But this was all about advice on how to handle November. So yeah, don't let November sink your boat. Let yourself still dream, and you'll help levitate everybody with you. All right, Aquarius. All right, 7 of Swords, futility. Often this card comes up when people relocate or move. Moving country, moving city, moving house. It's a card of walking away. What's the point? It is an Aquarius card. There's the moon at the top and there's Aquarius at the bottom. Moon in Aquarius is the most detached you can get. You know, they'll just assess things on a logical level and go, well, that's not logical, so I'm walking away. It's not about passion or loyalty or duty or anything like that. So there could be a situation or person that you just decide it's time, it's futile, it's over, it's pointless, just go, just stop. But it could also be, because these pinwheels at the back, according to the designer of the deck, are wings. It could be that you are flying away. You're flying away to somewhere else. So if you're thinking of moving, if you're thinking of just walking away from something that feels like a dead end, it's saying to do it. And Pisces. The Chariot. All right. The Chariot is all about overcoming obstacles. And it's also, though, about trying to get everybody on the same page. Often the obstacle is that you've got people who just think differently, want different things, and there's a tension, you know, and it's blocking something from going ahead. And so best way to get everybody rolling on this Chariot is to figure out why are these two guys facing the opposite direction. These two are facing forward, so they're on your team. They'll pull the Chariot, but these two are facing the other way, so they're going to block it. So if you're feeling that something you want or that you're working on is being blocked or stunted, take a look at everyone involved and really ask yourself, is everyone happy here? Is there some conflict that hasn't been resolved or something that's unsaid? Is there a funk in the air here? Because when people don't want to play on the team towards the same goal, somebody down the road, down the line, somewhere down the line, the chain was broken, the trust was broken, somebody was offended, something was amiss, and it wasn't corrected, and people go into their defense. And that's sort of this armoring, you know? So Pisces, you'd be good to be the one to reach out and see how people are truly feeling about a situation. And maybe you can help get that flow going so that whether this is your workplace or something going on that you want to accomplish that requires other people's involvement. It's not about buttering up in a fake way. It's about, you know, really sincerely going and asking, are you really feeling good about this? Or is there anything you'd like to tell me? Has anything I've done or someone else done bothered you? I really want this to go through. Is there something you'd like to say? Ask them, you know, be real with them, and you might find that you get things resolved and moving forward again. So you'll be busy this month. So it's been a long video. Thanks for sticking it out if you watched the whole thing. I know a lot of people probably just watch their own sign.